Hey folks, it's Jason here with chapter 21 of my painting diary. It's where I go through everything I've been painting over the last week or so, and we can get straight into it. Alright, so you're looking at some Zulus. It's not the same Zulus from the last episode. It's me cracking on with my Anglo-Zulu War project. So this is another unit of Zulus finished off. It's, I mean, what is it? 3, 6, 9, yes, 12 guys, yeah. Even though I'm actually doing 15, 16 models for the men who would be kings, but in, say, Lion or Dragon Rampant, I'm only using them as 12s. So I kind of paint them in 12s, and then when I'm, setting them out for a men who would be kings, I beef them up into 15s. That's a lot of ramble to say. I've painted a lot of Zulus. I don't know, I got about, maybe 75, 80. I tally them up in my Anglo Zulu War update video. So you can see there how far I've gotten. This was the last unit I've painted. This is a mixture of Warlord and Perry miniatures. So the vast majority of the Zulus I've painted so far have all been Warlord games. I bought some Perry miniatures just because I wanted to see the comparison, the quality of their figures versus the Warlord ones, if they were interchangeable, and just what sort of differences the kit brings. These Zulus here were sort of combinations of two, so I was missing a few heads on some of these models, so I added them some Perry heads, changed some arms. They don't quite fit 100%. I've tried to, manipulate them so that they fit it well. But once they're all mixed in with the rest of the Zulus, it'll be fine. And as usual, I've done 2 to 3 different types of shades of skin tones and a very muted base scheme just to keep them sort of generic so they can fit in with whatever system I'm using. So they're also all armed with assegais and the shields. As currently I've only just started on a unit with actual some rifles. The rest of them are all hand weapons, and I like it that way. It just gives a good feel of what they're about. And also, obviously, they've kept with the sort of black and white and cream tone to their kits. All right, well that's enough of that. I mean, you've seen my Zulus so far, and these are coming along nicely. So let's see what else I've done. Okay, so here we have 2 units of the British 24th Foot. Um, so there's 20 guys here. I've already done 10 more, which you've seen a couple of weeks ago. So these are just more infantry for the army. Right, let's go through some of these. So most of them are Warlord miniature games. In fact, I think the majority are. Then there are a few conversions and a few that I just added in from the Perry Miniatures sprue. Okay, so most of them, all the kneeling guys are Warlord games as they come with the kneeler version, whereas the Perry Miniatures have more of the rifles firing forward. I also got a couple of banner bearers. This is the banner bearer kit, the model that comes from the Perry Miniature sprue, and the flag is just from their pamphlet as well. This is the 24th Regiment Foot Regiment banner, and then I've got the Queen's 24th Regiment banner there. But this banner bearer is from the Victrix Highlander sprue, which I did my Gordon's Rangers miniatures from. So I just added another one there. I didn't have another left arm just hanging down to the side or whatever, so that one there, I don't know if you can tell, is kind of looking at a map, trying to decipher if they're going in the right direction. Then I've made an officer here, Lee Chapman. That's just a fictional character that'll be leading my forces for the British. And I've also got a couple of these guys here. Now, there's only 2 in a box set that you could do these because they come from the command sprue. They're the ones with the holstered, rifles over the arms, and I quite like those. So these 2 fellas are basically marching fellas, and I've done a few things like that in this. Like there's a bugle player over there, obviously the officer, the 2 standard bearers, just to add a bit of character to the unit. But I like these, and I would like to get more. Unfortunately, you only get 1 per command frame, and I think you get 2 command frames per box. So that's the amount. I can only make these two. So if anyone has any spares of their Perry Miniatures box sets with these marching orders, marching rifles, I also need, just by the way, that right-sided hand that's going down like that. Like you can see this one here, he's sort of yelling like that. I've had to use a different hand there because I used that right-sided hand on a different figure somewhere else. So I didn't have another one. And you don't have, you know, very many of the arms are either loading or holding the rifle or whatever the case may be. So there's not many you can have while marching. But anyway, the point is, I'm looking for more of these, as I've still got some bodies left and some heads left, which I'm not using yet. But if I can get some more of these shouldered arms and the hand coming down arm, then I can make some more marching guys and have a column of march, you know, when I'm doing in scenarios and stuff like that. So if you do have some of these and you want to get rid of them, comment below. I'll happily take them off your hands. Anyway. So there got another 20 guys here. Added the 10 I've already got. A couple of standard bearers, a couple of sergeants as well. I can see one over here, and I think there's another one somewhere. Is he him? Yep, him. So a couple of sergeants as well for NCOs, and I've got obviously this guy, Mr. Chapman, who will lead the army. And yeah, but I got one more unit to show you from this period. So here we have my Royal Navy Brigade, Marines Brigade, or unit, from my Anglo-Zulu War. Again, just like the Gordon's Rangers, I wanted something different, just to stand out from the 24th Foot. And even though the Marine Brigade wasn't involved as much, I mean, there was a unit in Natal at the time of the Zulu War, but they weren't involved in any of the battles or anything like that. They were little more involved in the Boer War, but like with the Rangers, it was just for fun. It's going to make it look cool on the battlefield, I think. They're going to stand out, you know, just like the Rangers did, so you can easily pick out different units on the battlefield, especially if they get intermingled with each other. So yeah, these are just Perry miniatures, except for these two fellas, which are Empress miniatures. I had one random pack that, when I bought the second-hand Zulus and Warlord figures, they came with a random pack of Empress miniatures as well, and they're alright. I mean, if I had to sort of rank between the three ranges that I'm using, I would say the Warlord miniatures are my favorite, and then the Perry miniatures, then the Empress miniatures. On the small scale, you know, I've only seen that one pack of Empress miniatures, and the little bits of the plastics that I've seen from the Zulu Wars from those two manufacturers. I think the Warlord Games miniatures are just a little more crisp, have a little more solid detail, whereas the Perry stuff a little more softer, although the sprues on each have various options, so it's nice to have the different options available to. Anyway, flag is just printed off from the website, from the internet. Got the Navy Brigade flag. It might not be 100% correct, but it's the closest I could find. The miniatures are predominantly Perry miniatures, with a couple of Warlord heads mixed in, like this fellow over here. He's got a Warlord hat on with the predominantly Perry body and stuff like that. What else we got going on? Yeah, so they painted in the blue scheme, and again, I just kept it very simple, and so that they look good on the battlefield. The hats are a little more whiter than the, say, the 24th Foot, just to represent them not being in the battle as much. And I think they'll look cool. They'll stand out nicely with the battlefield and make interesting scenarios, interesting options to do for, because you can give units veteran capabilities and not, and I just like that. And of course, you got to have a flag, even though that, you know, units didn't carry around flags on the battlefield in the Anglo-Zulu War as much. It's still cool to have it on the tabletop. So yeah, that's basically it for my Anglo-Zulu War in terms of the British for now. That's 50 infantry done, the Rangers, the Marines, and then 3 units of 24th Foot. Give me a good variety of infantry. That's not to say I'm done with the period, because I still want to do Natal Native Contingent to have some sort of more bods for their army, and then I still need cavalry and artillery as well. But for infantry wise, I think that's enough for now, barring maybe if I can get my hands on some of the holstered, shouldered bits, then that's that. So one more thing to show you for this week, which is not to do with the Anglo-Zulu War. It's a job we did for a customer for the Nemesis scenery. So, what I did the original aliens and marines and all that sort of stuff for him originally, but this is some of the scenery and really odd little bits and pieces that you can add to the game, just figures and wise. So those are already gone, so I don't have them physically here. So I put up some pictures, and you can see that. And thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys on the tabletop. Bye bye. Right, I just wanted to quickly jump in here with one extra little bit for this week. As we just finished this off, and I was just wrapping up the video, and I thought, you know what, I'll just stick this in before this goes, so you can see them in 3D or in model form or whatever, rather than pictures. Anyway, so these are 4 spaceships for a new game from Alley Cat Games, which is coming to Kickstarter soon. The name has escaped me now. But they wanted these 4 ships. They're in the player colors, so yellow, green, red, and blue. They wanted them sort of factory clean, so no weathering or damage to the ships in any way. And they are basically just player tokens, effectively. But with the Kickstarter coming up soon and the demos for various conventions coming up, they wanted something to show that the miniatures would look like. So we got a commission to paint them up. They came out quite nice. Carla did these, by the way. She did a great job on these. And I don't know if you can tell, the base is supposed to represent, like, you know, star system sort of thing. And yeah, so I can't tell you much about the game, as I don't know anything about it. They basically just said, there's 4 ships, blue, red, yellow, and green. Can you make them in these colors with some fancy patterns and artwork and whatever? No damage, no burns, no weathering. They've just literally factory new. I was like, okay. So there you go. 4 of these spaceships. If I remember, I'll stick a name underneath here for what the name of the game is. But this will be going back this afternoon, so I thought I'd get this on the camera quickly. Alright, let's move on.